What is up, guys? Diplexheated here again. Welcome back to Men of War Assault Squad 2 and of course Rob's Realism mod. I am super excited to be back here again with another battle. In today's video, we are mixing convoy defense with line defense to make for a pretty explosive and grand battle. I hope you guys will enjoy. I've been working on this for the last couple of days and I've been eager to record and upload, although I've been sick, as some of you might know, and that is the reason why I haven't been active on YouTube now for a few too many days. The content I have uploaded, though, this last week has been content I've had sitting around, which has been kind of handy, but it's not really what I think you guys have mainly wanted to see, so it's good to be back here with the regular content. So if you follow me on YouTube, which I presume you do, and if you're a frequent user of the mobile phone app, you'd know that over on the subscriptions tab, there's now some sort of like story function, much like the one on Snapchat and Instagram, where I can upload videos that are like 10 or 15 seconds long to update you guys. Now, I don't think it's quite fully working yet because it doesn't actually remove the update after 24 hours, which is why I've been seeing Karma Cut's dessert cake for the last 14 days, but that is really no damage done. I don't mind, but I still think that update is a work in progress. Now, the convoy defense thingy-majingy is something I more or less created by mistake in an old video and battle I uploaded to the channel many years ago. It was set during the retreat from Stalingrad, and it was meant to be more of a line defense battle, but I thought I'd add a different sort of another aspect to it, which was just to have a German convoy in the background behind all the trenches and all the guns. And it kind of caught speed. Over on the Steam Workshop now, there are plenty of different modders and mappers that have recreated this very battle set during the retreat from Stalingrad, and YouTubers like, I think, the Shermanator and Raptor have made videos of it, so it's nice to see that an idea of mine caught speed. It would be nice if these mappers and modders made one perhaps set in North Africa or Italy. That would be cool as well, but I do have to admit the Stalingrad setting really fits the battle and theme. So this is the convoy part over here, and over here in the front, this is where the business is at, right? So this is the line defense part, and we'll go through it quickly. But the whole point of this video is to have 4 waves, like 4 companies of Soviet armor attacking this layered defense here. There are essentially 3.5 lines here, part of this line defense. Now, all 3.5 lines will be pretty much involved at the same time. So there's going to be a lot of German firepower focused on the attacking Soviet armor. And we'll go through that in a bit, but there is another aspect here. The Germans will be receiving 4 waves of reinforcement, and or reinforcements rather, there are plural, and there will be 6 convoys in total heading past. So it'll be fun to see if the Soviets can break through and destroy the last 2 or 3 convoys, and or if the Germans with their reinforcements can hold the Soviets back at an appropriate distance so that the fuel trucks and everything else can retreat safely. Now, first layer, and then we'll get started. There's no point in really talking about the Soviets, because there's going to be so many tanks and so many things. You'll notice it once we get in game. The first line is pretty simple. Lots of infantry, about a company, I think. We've got 4 Pak 40 75mm 80 guns, pretty much capable of taking down any Soviet tank that they'll be throwing at us today. This is sort of like late 1943. So yes, we also have Panzerschrecks and lots of SS infantry with various weaponry. We've got MG34s and MG42s, and that is pretty much the first line. Second line gets a little interesting. We've got 20mm flaks, or I believe they're flaks, yes, on each side, and sometimes these can be a little confusing. The Germans sometimes use 20mm, 37mm, and it can be hard to distinguish the caliber looking at the barrel itself. Interestingly enough, there's not much of a difference sometimes visually looking at them from this distance in terms of thickness and length, but I do believe these are indeed 20mm guns. There are snipers, more infantry on each side, and this second trench have mortars for a more close range artillery support. We also have 2 Flak 88s back here. I think these are Flak 18s, and then another 2 Pak 40s with some serious very serious sandbag defenses. Now, third, and not quite finally, we have the artillery, the more rear artillery support here with 3 howitzers, 150mm SFH-18s. We've got more infantry behind sandbags, and we have just some various logistic trucks back here. A Panzer V, also known as a Panther. We have another 20mm half-track, I do believe, because that is the same gun as you've seen back there, except that one's on wheels, this one's on a half-track. And then we have a Panzer 3N, I do believe, with the side skirts. Far back here, we have 2 more Pak 40s that I hope won't interfere with the convoy, and then another 2 15-centimeter Hummels. So in a way, it feels like they've kind of put the SFH-18 on a Hummel, or on a chassis, on a tank, on tracks. So self-propelled artillery. The reinforcements will be varied, but pretty much a summary of all the armor and stuff you see here on the field. I don't think there's anything else to mention. Oh yes, one final thing before we get started with this glorious battle. I've got plenty of more stuff to come. I will finish Natuna before the end of this year, and thank you for being worried about me when I'm ill. Some of you guys, or one of you guys said, and I don't want to address just him personally, I want to address everyone that's worried. He said that I need to get out more and eat more like a balanced diet, and I really do appreciate everyone's concern, but the reason why I'm the reason why I'm cold and sick is because I've caught the flu. A person close to me gave it to me, really. It's really cold these times of year here in Sweden, and well, I'm a very capable cook, if I may say so myself. If you followed me on my old Instagram page, you would have noticed that there was a lot of home cooking uploaded pretty much all the time. And so I do eat a very balanced and sort of nutritious diet. I even eat Huel at times, or more or less drink Huel, which is practically space food. So read more into that if you're interested. And in terms of being out more, the reason why I haven't uploaded so many videos this year is because I've been out so much, just enjoying the summer. So in general, I appreciate the concern, but I'm not as shut in as I might appear. So without further ado, let me just go ahead and make sure everything is prepped properly, and then we will get started with the battle. Thanks for watching this whole intro. If it's been painful, I'm sorry, but your pain won't have been in vain. The battle is about to begin, and it's going to be insane. Alright guys, it's about time to get this battle started. All the numbers check out, everything seems to be correct. So the Soviets will be receiving 4 waves of reinforcements, so will the Germans, although they will be drastically different in size and power. And of course there will be 6 convoys to keep an eye on. I'm not sure when or if we'll be able to keep an eye on all of them, but we're going to focus on the action at first hand, and perhaps we'll see the convoy every now and then. I'm sure we will. But without further ado, let's get this battle started. First wave is on its way in, and as you can tell, the Soviets are kicking it off with some light armor to begin. We have some BT-5s carrying Russian infantry just storming across the field here, hitting this first small, thin sort of forest line. And instantly they're taking fire by the various German weaponry here, set up among the trenches and the sandbanks. More medium armor is moving ahead. We've got T-34 Mod 1943 tanks, also carrying lots of Soviet infantry. And it's just so nice to view this battle from a distance. It just gives you a feeling of the whole grand scale. It's just truly amazing, to be honest. And then finally, the last stage of the first wave, a set of heavy tanks. We have some KV-85s and a KV-2. And more infantry. Alright, let's head over to the German side of things while all the explosions are going off left, right, and center. How is the first line of defense doing? So far, it does seem like the Paks here on the right flank have done okay. They're still functional, although some of them have lost their crew. Soviet tanks are getting really close. This is going to turn into some pretty gruesome scenery soon. Oh, there goes the far right Pak 40. The one to its left is still operational, it seems, although it lacks a crew, so I'd say it's still functional. But it doesn't have any German soldiers crewing it. Looks like a T-70 is starting to get really close here on the right side. Do we have any Panzerfausts? No, I think they've all been used so far. We might see a few AT grenades go off soon, though. Yeah, here we go. Oh, what a final sacrifice. He's going to bring down. He is not going to cross the first line. So every time it lags a little bit, that means there are more tanks on the way. And while there's a small break here before the second Soviet wave hits, we can see here that the first wave of German reinforcements have arrived now. So they arrive slightly after the end of the wave before it, and just in time for the wave after it. So they arrive in between the Soviet attacks. And part of the first German convoy has been destroyed here, as you can tell, but I'm sure we'll catch more German convoys later on. Let's focus on the battle at hand here in the front. Oh my god. So the Soviet heavier tanks are now, like, getting very close indeed, and now there are just shells flying everywhere, equipment also flying, it seems. A Pak 40 caught speed and air, I'd say. And the KV-85s are taking a heavy pounding now by various German guns. Oh, the right side is just being masked. Look at all the smoke pillars from afar. There goes an Ostwind, I do believe. And another Stug 3 behind here is just doing what it can to open up and hold back the Soviets. Here's another assault gun here on the far right, firing away at the Soviet tanks, inching ever closer to the first wave, or the first line rather. None have so far crossed the trench line, and there are still German infantry among the trenches here, well, I'd say among all the tank wrecks and sandbags that have flown everywhere. Still putting up a fight. Honestly, just fighting till the bitter end here, supported by German howitzers further back. Good shot there by a flak. That 88 is going to knock out that T-34 like it's nothing. But, of course, the second trench line isn't all unharmed. Some of the panzers arriving to reinforce have gone down among infantry and weapons, and if they detonate, it could really cause some serious issues to the nearby soldiers and weapons. This Panzer III might cook off. Let's get an overview of the situation before the third Soviet wave arrives. Blimey, I think it has just... No, it hasn't quite arrived yet. So the remnants or the remains of the second wave are still pushing forward, mainly the heavier tanks. But I do have to say, I do think the first German defense, or the first trench line, has been more or less neutralized. There's little infantry here that can actually put up a fight against all the armor moving up, but there's a lot of infantry alive and well here on the left side. The Panzer Shrek there is still active, he's firing away. But there we go, a BT-5 has just crossed the first line. The first trench line has been punctured. Armor is now breaking through. And little seems to remain of the second trench line here on the right side. They've been so weakened by the first two Soviet waves, it's frightening indeed. Can we catch a convoy back here? Yes. This could be the third or fourth wave passing through. This fuel truck has stopped on the road, which makes it obviously quite a big danger for the vehicles passing by. The driver has been shot dead. So if it's hit by a stray bullet or shell, it could obviously make a large explosion, destroying nearby vehicles. But this convoy seems to just move past the rest at a fairly safe distance from the Soviets. The Hummels back here are still opening fire to support. This pack is active, although it has lost a soldier or a crewman due to the explosion here of a fuel truck. So the war or the battle up front leaves none safe, despite being far behind the actual fighting. Howitzers back here doing what they can to hold back the lighter Soviet tanks, firing for full effect. Both flaks are active, except the one here on the right side. It has lost its crew. I'm not sure if it's received any damage to its but it does seem fairly unharmed. Every time there's a lag spike, that means more infantry and tanks and all that are being added to the fight. And in this case, it would be the third Soviet wave just spearing ahead now. For the sake of prolonging the battle, and I'm making this a quick call here, I do intend to keep this fight going for as long as possible, because no one here is interested in a short fight. So these crewmen here that you can tell have survived various fighting previously, or at least perhaps the destruction of their own vehicle. I'm quite marveled at how they've actually survived it. I will send them to crew the guns that would likely realistically be recrewed again, like this flak, which is fully operational. I will give up the point of crewing any surviving Pack 40s up here. No sane soldier would ever jump and crew a gun when there's Soviet infantry to his right and left. So the first line is now truly lost. But we must do what we can here to strengthen the second line. And they were almost instantly shot off the gun. Oh, massive amounts of explosions back here. I think a Russian T-60 is firing some autocannon shells. Now we've got a wave of light tanks about to cross the first trench line. All the infantry have more or less been killed. There's a few Panzer Grenadiers still fighting, but they won't stop any of the armor passing through right now. Here comes another wave of German reinforcements. Is this the second or third? Most likely wait a minute, if it's the first one arrived in between the first and second wave, then this is the second arriving in between the second and third wave. So yes, this is it. And they're just spearing ahead to hold back the Soviets as long as they can. What an absolute slaughter. Howitzers firing for full effect here. Tanks being destroyed left, right, and center. Is the Panther still active? The Panther is still active. Well, that's good to see. And the Hummels back here are providing additional support. We saw massive explosions here by the beginning of the road, and I think we lost a whole convoy there. It seems like a whole group of vehicles, half a dozen almost, went just up in a boom. Probably due to the fact that the stopped vehicle and just the rest just exploded. So that is a massive blow to the German morale here, and especially the convoy itself trying to pass through. The Soviets are about to overwhelm the second row right now, the second line of defenses, but somehow magically they're still being held back. And here comes the fourth and final wave. The fourth and final Soviet wave has been deployed. That means that we are about to see the third and fourth German wave coming up pretty soon. I wonder. The packs are still firing. They're doing what they can. So are the Hummels. And the Panther is miraculously still combat active, although I'm not sure for how long. There we go. It was just knocked out. Rest in peace. Meine Kamerad. They're really being overwhelmed now by superior numbers of Soviet armor and infantry. But this is just what the red wave looks like, my friends. But we're gonna leave a lot of destruction behind, that's for sure. Hummels firing. I think they ought to be firing direct soon. Packs are still keeping up. Look at that, we got the German infantry behind here covering. That's so awesome. We're gonna see a lot of infantry retreating soon. But we also ought to see more. Let's get some more men up on this one. Alright, here's another convoy passing through. So we'll see the protection vehicles, mainly used to protect against Soviet airstrikes and strafing runs, which would be this half-track and this Panzer II. They're going to open up at Soviet infantry and vehicles as they see fit, but I don't think we're going to see this convoy survive. This could be the 6th and final passing through, but there should be one more wave of German tanks to show up, because I think we've seen about 3, and there should be one now arriving after the last Soviet wave, if my calculations are correct. Uh-oh, that Panzer II is down. Fuel trucks are just trying to get through. Go for it, go for it, go for it. Oh, it's mine, detonate. Run, run, run. This Pak-40 isn't really sure what to aim at. I think there might be a Soviet tank passing through the right. Oh man, it is a BT-5 just rushing through with Soviet infantry on it. Oh man. Oh, a chain reaction on the road. Oh, that is gruesome. One of the Hummels is down, the other one is disabled. Oh, this one's leaking fuel. It's leaking fuel. I've never seen that. I've never ever seen a truck leak fuel as it's like still functional. Well, that, my friends, is just marvelous. But we might see, I think just that small lag spike is probably the last wave of German armor coming through now. Or was it not? Possibly not. We might have seen the 4th and final wave actually set foot on the field of battle, although they've just withered away so quickly. It's all happened and gone so quickly. I must have missed out 1 or 2 of them just by the sheer destruction of the Soviet armor. I was anticipating a 4th and final wave to show up, but I suppose they already did, and now they're already gone. Oh, that tank is just going to drive through. Well, you bloody idiot! You Soviet fool! Well, that's one way to get yourself killed. For what cause? Alright, the lighter tanks and infantrymen are just rushing through the former defenses, just killing what they can. Look, it's a German squad leader. Unterbefehl. Wait, no, I hear it. You hear that? That, to me, sounds like the last wave of German reinforcements. Is it going to be enough to somehow counterattack properly? I don't think so. But it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. There's a few really able tanks. Oh, man, but the BT-5s might just have the upper hand on them. Like, that one's going to go out. It's going to fire off one last shell. How are the assault cannons and Stugs and Ostwinds on this side faring? Oh, not well at all. This is just this is going to look like the Kuwaiti highway with Iraqi armored vehicles just destroyed by A-10s and strafe runs. If the A-10 was around at that time, I do believe it was. Yeah, this is going to turn. This is going to do no German any good. Perhaps no Soviet either, if this causes a massive chain reaction. My friends, the battle is pretty much over. The last wave arrived too late. They were unable. I hope I haven't crashed somehow. No, I haven't. Thank heavens, because that would be a very great battle wasted. Oh, but there's another wave. I swear there were only 4. And this seems to be a 5th, unless I've done my calculations all wrong. But anyway, they won't really take part of any battle. This battle was decided on the 4th for sure. Unless I've completely lost my calculations. Thank you for watching this video, my friends. And I will see you guys soon again. But let's just head out and make sure my numbers were right anyway. But I don't think there's any point in looking at casualties. Most of the actual infantry are dead, and vehicles aren't marked in yellow or red. So, are they? No, they're not. So, yeah. Just look at all the smoke trails and you'll get an idea. Alright, I'll see you guys in just a minute. Alright, loaded back in. Let's have a look at these scripts real quick. So, 0, that would be the Soviets. Loop times 4, so 4 waves. That's odd. I must have really gotten the waves wrong then. So apparently the 3rd one kind of finished it. Although I thought it was the 4th one. I can't believe I missed that. German Convoy 6 loops, as you can tell. And finally, Ger 2 would be the reinforcements, 4 loops. So, having that said, did you count 4 or 5 Soviet convoys? I counted 5 by the end of it. But then again, I might be wrong. Perhaps the 3rd one did actually seal the deal. Hope you guys enjoyed this battle. God, I'm sweaty because there's just so many things going on all the time. But you've been asking for larger tank battles and action in general, so I thought I'd provide. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys soon again. Ciao.